Welcome back to Motherhood Uncut. We are so glad you're here. In this podcast, Deb, Rubin, and I talk about all things motherhood related, the things that people don't usually want to bring to the table, the messy, the hilarious, the ugly, the challenging, the amazing, the beautiful, the really effed up, all that stuff. We've got it here for you. We bring to you our own personal experience as moms, as well as some research and data that might help you along the way. Thanks for being here. Bring your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We've got you. Come mother with us.
Hey everyone, this is Deb, and Kate and I are so excited to share with you our very first interview. Now, we interviewed our 4 daughters. We were surprisingly more vulnerable through the process than we thought we'd be. It was an amazing experience. We asked them to be really honest, and they were really honest, and some of those truths really hurt. And what you'll hear is we were kind of straddling between letting them just really shine and speak their truth while also holding our parenting seat. And it was tricky, but we had fun and the girls enjoyed it, and I was really proud of them. So I hope you enjoy this as much as we did, and we'll see you soon.
All right, moms, it's Kate, and I have something incredible to offer you. Starting this Friday, yes, just a couple of days away, I am launching my 12-week Healthy Mom Bootcamp. This is going to create a pathway for you for freedom, clarity, control, connection, more time, more energy, more patience in motherhood. And it is a space where you can be with other moms along the way. I am telling you, this is something you can't miss out on. 12 weeks starting this Friday, Healthy Mom Bootcamp. Code for a discount is in the show notes, and you only have a few more days to sign up. So don't miss out. This is going to be a life changer. Really, I promise.
Hey there, this is Deb. I am really excited to share with you about my workshops and curriculum for January and February. As you know, I run something called the Mother-Daughter Journey. And what this is designed to do is strengthen mother and daughter relationships and all those who identify or are socialized as daughters through these adolescent years. My goal is to equip moms with necessary tools and compassion and different perspectives to navigate their particular path forward. Please check out my website, motherdaughterjourney.co, and register today. The workshops are filling up and they're actually starting next week. So get on board. I'd love to be on a journey with you. Thanks so much.
Hey, Deb.
Hi, Kate.
Season 2.
Here we are.
We have some big guests here today.
We have the most amazing guests here today. We have our 4 girls.
We have our 4 girls. You want to introduce yourselves, girls?
Sure. I'm Kinley and I'm 15. I'm Sage and I'm 14.
Whose mom is yours?
Oh, Kate, Deb.
I'm Tess and I'm 12 and my mom is Deb.
I'm Bridger, I'm 13 and my mom is Kate.
These guys are AKA the Crubins, in case anybody was wondering.
And they're incredibly courageous and badass to be on our podcast.
Sure are.
Because it's kind of weird to ask adolescent girls to come and talk about personal things to a bunch of listeners that they don't know who they are. So I just want to give it up to you all because it takes a lot of courage to be here.
Sure does.
So, Caters,
Yes,
I've
Deb?
missed podcasting
I
with
have
you.
missed podcasting with you. Here we are.
Here we are. And I have to say, in the last couple of weeks not being with you, I've been thinking so much about the deep importance of the collective wisdom of motherhood. And
right there with
that
you.
goes out to our listeners of like just how important it is that we're in this together.
That's right.
And so there's so much more to say about that. But the reason we brought our girls on is because as you and I know, and I hope all our listeners know, that we are like learning alongside you. We definitely have some places we think we're thriving and we have lots of places to learn. And so what we want to set this podcast up for is to learn from our girls.
Yep.
What is working?
Yep.
What's annoying?
Yep.
And what do you wish was different in the way we mother you?
Put on your seatbelt, Deb. We're so brave.
We are so brave. I'm nervous.
I know, me too.
We have no idea what's going to happen.
No,
just
we
so you
don't.
know. So, girls.
We did tell the girls that it was okay for them to call us out on stuff, though.
Absolutely.
We're ready.
We are so ready.
Because how else will we know?
Exactly.
Okay.
So who wants to go first?
Brave point, brave point.
Yes, Des. Whoop.
Okay, wait. Do I start with working?
Sure.
Oh, okay. So, I like how my mom gives me room to like talk and doesn't like interrogate like a lot.
What does that word interrogate mean? When you say what does it mean? What do you mean she doesn't interrogate?
Like, like this happens like sometimes, but not like a lot. Like asks like a bunch of questions, and like even if I don't feel like talking, like that doesn't happen a lot.
I'm reminded of our 20 questions for Deb and Kate that we started with in season 1. And the question was, what is one thing our girls would say annoys them about us? And both of us were like, we might ask too many questions. So
That's great.
that's good, Tess. I appreciate that.
That's what I said was not working.
Oh, say more. Say more.
I said that I want you to like give me space to not really want to talk about anything more than you do, because like otherwise I'll just like not feel like talking and you'll still like ask a million questions.
Asking a million questions is one of those things that, Deb, that you and I have talked about on here. And I heard both of you say me too. Can you comment on that, Sajiru?
Okay, so sometimes when me and my mom are having a conversation and she'll be asking me like how I feel about something, sometimes like I just don't know and it's hard to explain, but she'll still like try and like press me on that. Or if like something happened like with my friends, she kind of just like tries to like talk about it more than I want to talk about it sometimes.
That is such good feedback. Do you know what would be helpful for me in those moments is when you don't want to talk about it, like, can you tell me that? I just don't want to talk about this anymore.
Sure.
Actually,
I thought I did.
I don't know.
I thought I did.
I feel like you have done that a number of times. You'll be like, you will say, I don't want to talk about it. And Kinley, you give this crazy ass look on your face. And I'm like, that's the I don't want to talk about it look, right? Yeah.
I can pay more attention to that
Today-
crazy ass look.
Today, Mom and I, we were walking into like a coffee shop and I was like telling her how my pants were like itchy. And then and she's like, wow, your uncomfortable face is so clear. And then she was talking about how I make this really weird face when I'm like uncomfortable about something.
Show us.
Like, can't do it on command. Can't do it on command.
Wait, I actually want to stay on this topic for just 1 sec because this is actually like the number one question I get asked from moms is what do we do when our kid won't open up to us? So I guess I want to start with you, T, is that I appreciate that you saying I don't over ask, but I also want to thank you because you share really willingly. And so I think that's a really wonderful skill. And I think that there's so much value in not wanting to share. So I'm just curious to all of you, I think you were about to say something. When you don't want to talk, how do you work with what's going on in your head?
I think like mostly I just need time because like I think like if you want us to like open up about something, just like give us time and eventually it'll be like actually like I kind of want to tell you about this now because like now I'm ready to have the conversation. Cuz like when you kind of just press it, it's like no, I'm too pressured, I don't want to talk about it.
Also, like, I feel like sometimes, like, if I don't share, you, like, know, since I share, like, a lot, like, when I don't share, you, like, know, so it's kind of, like, awkward. So, like, I don't really know. So, like, yeah, I don't know.
Like sitting with the awkwardness of me not knowing is sometimes more uncomfortable than just saying it.
Yeah, but, like, just, like, if you know that I don't want to share, just, like, don't ask.
Okay, this is so helpful.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, I think if we want to tell you something, we will come to you when we're ready to tell you about it. A lot of times we'll probably talk to our friends first and be like, this happened, and then we'll come to you. But if we don't always know how you're going to react. And a lot of times that's what holds us back.
That is so helpful.
Can I ask a question about that? Yeah. So that's so powerful because one of the things Deb and I talk about so much on this podcast is how important it is to stay grounded as a mom and not sort of make assumptions and project and judge. We've done podcasts about all of those things. So I'm curious, when you say that, Kinley, like what way do I react that makes you uncomfortable? What's an example of like a way I might react that would make you be like, oh, I wish I hadn't said something?
Well, sometimes you judge me and it makes me feel like I made the wrong decision. Or you could be angry, like I never know what's going to happen. But I remember one time I was telling you about this guy. I was like, I told him I liked him. And you were like, oh, so what do you think would have happened if you didn't do that? And I was like, oh, I think I made the wrong choice. Like I shouldn't have done that. So you made me feel like I did something wrong, and it just doesn't always feel very good.
It's also like you don't always have to like verbally judge us. It's kind of like us kids are really good at reading people.
Yes, you are.
And we can tell if you're like, ew.
Can I? So Kinley, I'm just going to pause here with you for just a minute because this is so good. And obviously, Deb and I don't know if did you girls listen to the podcast episode on judgment when we judge our kids? Did you guys listen to that? Totally. No. Okay. You did not. Okay. So here's the thing. Like, I think it is really something as moms that we need to practice and be mindful of is not judging our kids. And if I remember correctly, Kinley, please tell me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, what came from that conversation is that you, hold on, Gigi, can you press close?
Turn on the
Kinley, if I remember correctly, what came from that conversation is that you actually decided that maybe you had made a mistake. Am I right? That maybe you wish that you had done things differently. So as a mom, I guess my question is, how do we help guide or support you if we're worried about a choice that you're making in a way that doesn't lead you to feeling judged? That's a big question.
Bridgie's got something.
I think it's helpful to acknowledge that you're judging us. Like, be like we already know that you're judging us, but it helps for you to be like, I'm judging you right now. I know that these are your own decisions, and I'm worried about the choices you're making.
Oh, that's good.
And instead of just being like implying it, because that's so just good. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's so good because you're already reading our body language, reading our eyes. Like, I mean, I think that is actually such an important thing for all of our listeners to know is that our kids are sponges and they're so tuned in and they can feel everything. So if we don't label it, it actually can feel really confusing.
Totally.
Were you going to say something, Sage?
I don't know if this really has to do with judgment, but I feel like sometimes my mom doesn't always like fully like hear me when I'm trying to like speak my side of like an argument with like Tess or something. And like obviously that's hard because you can't really like choose one of us, but I feel like sometimes like you don't totally like listen to my side even if it like makes more sense in a certain situation.
That's so good to know. What do you think I do in those moments?
Sometimes you just won't let me like finish what I'm talking about, and then you'll just start talking about what I did wrong in the situation even though I probably had a reason for it.
So there needs to be a little more room for validating what's going on for you in those moments.
Yeah, or maybe just like before we talk about like why what I did was wrong, I could maybe like explain to you why, like my reasoning behind it, because I'm not just gonna like say something or do something out of nowhere.
That's good.
Doesn't really make
like
sense.
benefit of the doubt. I hear you saying you want your mom to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I guess, and it kind of can connect to like other situations too. Like if like do something like maybe I had like a reason for it, or like if something happened with something else.
That's really helpful. What I'm hearing too for me is like when I'm refereeing you two, which is really exhausting for me lately, I am rushing. I am not slowing down. I am not pausing enough first. Instead, I kind of just want it like to get resolved, maybe quicker than it needs to.
Yeah, but also like sometimes it doesn't need to get resolved because I just want you to like hear my side, like because like if you're needed to be like refereeing us, it's probably like we're really upset or like we actually like have a reason that we really like want you to be helping us. So I mean like I guess just like pausing and like really thinking about both of us is like helpful for and like beneficial for us both. Do you agree, Tess?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That is really helpful. And I'm actually wondering if I maybe even need to stay out of it even more than I already do.
Yes.
With sibling stuff. Yes?
Bridger, you say that.
Sorry. I think that whenever, like, I don't know if this is just like me, but like I kind of feel like when I'm like need your help, you're like, I'm staying out of it. And then like when it's something that like I did wrong, then you're like get mad at me. But like when it's something that Sage did wrong, you're like just like, I'll stay out of it.
Interesting perspective.
I think like Tess, I think sometimes it's also more dad. Dad gets in the middle of it more than mom does. But like I agree, sometimes when we ask for your help, you're like too mad or like you don't want us to be fighting, so then you just don't want to help us out.
This is such an interesting dilemma, I think, as moms, because it has a lot to do with our moods, right? The truth is, if I am feeling grounded and calm, I probably have a lot more tolerance to stay out of it and let you figure it out yourselves, Kinley and Bridger, than if I'm feeling irritated and annoyed. And then I'm more likely to jump in and be like, really? Really, you guys? You're arguing about a t-shirt or whatever the thing is. But Bridger, you know what you say to me often? It actually makes me giggle. Bridger will be like, Mommy, whatever. I didn't know that this was your problem or something. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, I didn't know this was about you. And I'm like, oh, right. It's not.
I think it's like, if we don't bring it up with you, that means we don't want to talk about it. But then at the same time, like, if we go to you and like, say if I go to you and I say, Kinley's doing this and this, you might take that as like, oh, I'm complaining to you about Kinley. But really that's me asking for help. Like,
Oh yeah, I agree with
like if I go to you and I bring the argument up with you, that means I want you to intervene. If I don't and I don't say anything about it to you directly, that's like, just I'll figure it out myself.
I have to say something about that because I actually feel like you girls bring me in often around your fighting, and I'm not sure how to like actually get it right because I'm either not helpful or getting mad or getting over involved. Like this is a really tricky one. Do you want to say something?
Well, like I agree with Bridger, Mom. When I come down and I'm like, Sage like did this or whatever, and then you hear Sage yelling from upstairs like she's like stop tattling or something like that, then like I feel like I agree with Bridger when I say something like that and I tell you that's not just tattling, that's like I want like you to help resolve it. That's like how you would know. I'm not gonna come down and be like, will you help us with this fight? I'm just like not gonna say that.
I actually would like to request that you do. My request is that if you want help, that you come in and you say, hey, can I have help with this?
I think that's what I say sometimes.
Say more.
I mean, if Bridgie's doing something, I'll come in and be like, Bridgie did this. What should I do? Or like, can you help me with this? Because I've told her multiple times to not do it and she's still not listening.
So my heart softens and I am much more interested in showing up in a disagreement like that if you're directly asking me for help. And I will say that's a big thing that Deb and I talk about on here is like, where is our personal responsibility for getting what we want and need? And you know, I think maybe I sound more defensive than I mean to, but I think that as moms, there's a lot of arguing that happens in sibling argument, and we don't always know what the right thing to do is. So I would just like to request that if you really do want help, that you lead with that. Hey, can you help with this?
I honestly think that the best thing to say, instead of like being like, oh, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Like, I don't know, just to be like this argument resulted in something that both of you did, and it wasn't one person or the other, and you both need to accept that and accept that it was your part too, instead of being like, oh, Kinley, why did you do that? Like, I just think that results in the other person feeling like you're not recognizing their side.
And to your point, it always takes two. Mm-hmm. Every conflict always takes two. I'm wondering if there's another topic we want to dive into here.
Yes, siblings can go around and round.
Yeah.
Why don't we give someone else because you did yours. Who wants to go next? Something that's working. Well, you did.
Something that's working is this is kind of like the problem thing, but different. If I have a problem, I'll talk to my mom about it and she'll kind of help me resolve it and be like with my friend problems, she'll help me with that, or all that stuff. And that's really nice because you listen to me and like support me when I need help. So
awesome.
And the four of you we've done this before. You guys are such great. I hope you all four know that you can practice with each other, right? Like this is the beauty of the Crubins, or for anyone who has good family friends or good friends, they're your kids that have good friends that you trust, that you can practice having hard conversations with each other. Yes.
What is something working for you?
Something that's working for me is that lately you've been like helping me out with like, for me, like I'm like a freshman this year, and like there's been like a lot of new transitions, and you've been like pretty helpful with like helping me like send an email like to like my guidance counselor when one of my teachers like wasn't helping me out, or like packing my lunch for me like if I didn't have time to do it in the morning. And that's just been like really nice lately because there's been like a lot more change this year, and just like getting used to it, you've been like helpful.
Thank you. Well, that's a good reminder that during transitions, sometimes I know that I need my rules to get a little softer, you know that. And I think for any of us, when we're kind of going through a harder time, we need our moms to take care of us in a little different way. And I think that's such a good reminder of we have that capability, especially when someone like Kate and I, we're really big fans of grit and doing things yourself and really getting it done. And I think it's a good reminder that our girls actually need a lot of learning still.
Yeah, this comes up in our house around rides. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Wanting a ride to or from school, and I'm like, you can walk.
Same in our house. What's working for you, Bridger?
I would say like when you just like ask simple questions like how are you, stuff like that, instead of like going to more complicated questions that I might not want to answer. Just like every day asking how I am and like how my day was when I get home from school. Like I think that's good.
All right, that's really good to know.
That's so helpful. We're doing a good job.
We're doing all right.
Okay.
Yes, Kinley has something.
I have another thing.
Great.
You're really flexible with things. Like having a bunch of friends over.
Say more. What do you mean?
Well, you know what I mean. Like the other night.
These people don't know what you mean.
Oh, sorry. The other night, well, if I asked to have like, can all these people come over tonight? You'll be like, sure. Like you let me have parties, but like parties.
Right. So let's talk about that for a minute, because this is a stage of parenting that Deb and I are both new at, which is the parenting during teenage years. So can you let our listeners know, explain to them that what does it look like in our house for me and Daddy to say yes, but to also hold boundaries around that?
What do you mean?
Well, you had a party on Friday, but what did we say about the party?
You said there was no drinking or smoking at the house.
Right. And so what was it like for you to let your friends know that?
It was fine. I mean, because you're so flexible with all that stuff, all my friends are like in love with you.
Oh, that's good to have teenage friends be in love with me.
Well, not like in love, but they like love you. Like they're like, your mom's so cool.
Well, that kind of moves into one of our other questions, and maybe we could just take that and we can come back to these two. But what do you love about other people's moms? What makes someone else's mom lovable, for lack of a different term?
Snacks.
Oh, so
That is what I was gonna say.
Snacks.
Always having good food. That's
Yeah, having good food and also like being funny.
Yeah.
like how funny how?
I don't know, just like
not taking things too seriously.
yeah.
And wait,
And also good snacks.
and also just like making it like chill, like making the house like chill, like when my friends walk in, like just like not like being like really like, you know, like this is not what you guys are, but like super like bossy and stuff, like, and like I mean bossing us around and stuff, and like just like so it's like a good environment so my friends will want to come back. Like, yeah.
Can I say
Welcoming
something?
home.
Okay, so like this is kind of an example. Like, you guys don't do this, which makes me really happy. I've been at this person's house one time. Their mom was so strict, like, and I so understand, like, having, like, hard rules. But this mom was, like, very strict, like, about, like, devices and, like, shoes and, like, where in the house we could go and, like, what we could eat. And, like, that's all fine. Like, I respect that. But, like, you guys kind of have your boundaries, but you also are, like, casual about it. And you can, like, be flexible if, like, someone's really hungry or something like that. And you can, like, help my friends, like, not feel, like, scared to be around you.
I'm sort of laughing, Sage, because if someone asked me about the things that I felt the most strict about, I would say devices, shoes in the house, right? Like, I don't know that I have anything about food, but it's so interesting. Help us and our listeners know, like, what do we do about this? Let's talk about the device thing for a moment. Can we do that? Yeah. I want to just, yes, you can. And I want to come back to this question about devices and what does it look like? Like, how do you feel supported by us when it comes to devices, and what frustrates you? But you can say whatever you want to say first, and then we can come back to that question.
Okay, well, it's kind of like to that question a little bit too. So, like, you guys don't do this. Like, I feel like when we were first getting phones, like, you guys were talking about how, like, there was going to be, like a basket and stuff that would be at the front. And I don't know if that happens for you guys, like, at your house, like, still, does it?
No.
Okay. So, like, honestly, I feel like that's, like, better because I know that you guys say that if we're just on our phones and stuff, then we're not really together. But when I'm with my friends and we're, like, on our phones or we're, like, doing something together that's on a phone, we, like, are together and we're, like, talking while we do it. And it's, like, it's kind of, like, a way to bond. And, like, I feel like you guys, like, didn't really have that as kids. Like, I'm not saying that you're, like, old, but, like, you guys didn't really.
We're old.
We are.
You didn't really have that as kids, and, like, I know that you guys don't, like, fully understand, but, like, I think that, like, we just need to, like, fully tell you, like, right now.
That is really helpful. I think that is something that we as moms are always learning, that we have no idea what it's like to grow up with these kinds of device availability, and that you're right. I do think when you're all sitting there looking at your phones, you're not connecting, but you're saying this is a version of connection right now.
It's not like we're texting each other and we're sitting next to each other.
But you're like watching something together.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Well, no.
No, it's like, so even if we are watching something, like, together, like, we're still, like, talking, we're still together and stuff. And then if we're just, like, I don't know, like, on our phones, we're still together. Like, I don't have a specific, like, thing, but, you know, like, yeah.
I mean, I was talking to my teacher about this the other day. We had, like, a class discussion about it. And, like, us, like, our generation is the first generation to have, like, iPhones when we were teenagers. So it's like everyone's learning new things, but also with COVID, that was our way of communication. So we're just, like, so used to, like, communicating with people online now that that's kind of just what we go to. So it might look like we're on our phones a lot, but we're just talking to our friends. Like, it's like, and I'd say for me, like, if we're having, like, a family thing, I won't be on my phone, but, like, at times when I can be, I'll, like, be talking to some friends. So it's kind of like when you're like, Kinley, put down your phone, when, like, we're not doing anything, I don't really see what the problem is.
I think it's also, like, while, like, of course we want to have, like, no phone rules, and, like, we want to have, like, the most unstrict parenting. Like, it's important to have rules because, like, when I'm older, like, I'm sure I'm going to be really glad that I haven't had any social media up until this point.
Thank you, Bridget.
This conversation, I'm just going to put myself out there and say, is very cringy to me. This is very, like, my tummy is tight because I really honor and hear what you're saying, and it makes so much sense to me. And I'm scared shitless of social media. You know, it's like I want to both, bless you, I want to both make space for this new generation of connecting and
And we know that it really is harmful for mental health.
This is like a hard, and I don't mean, you're not saying anything that is cringy worthy. I just mean that my tummy, this is like a very tricky place.
Something that triggers me about social media and like Tess and I, you guys tend to only learn about the bad things about it, and that like triggers most of your rules about it. So it's kind of hard for me sometimes because I often feel like I don't really know, like your rules are stricter than other people's rules, and like I totally understand like those bad things, but there are also good things about it too. And I feel like in moderation it's not as scary. Like, and you can choose like how out there you are with social media, which can make it like safer for you. And like you can be more safe with yourself, and then it's not actually harmful for your like mental health if you choose how you are with it, I think.
Thank you so much for this insight and feedback, and we are learning as we go. And I think for us as moms and all our moms listening, we want you to know that it is our job to help you navigate through this. And so there's maybe wiggle room on our end. There's definitely wiggle room on yours. And I think that we just have to stay committed to understanding that we're figuring this out.
Totally.
Okay.
Who's next?
For what?
For any question that you wrote down, something that's working, that's not working. Bridger?
I think that like also like we may be kids, but I personally want to know about like interesting stuff. Like if there's something interesting that you learn like in your day, I want to hear it.
Oh, same.
Like even if it's like you might be like oh, it's some random like thing, like she's 13, she doesn't really care, but like I don't know, I might care about it. So
Wait, that's awesome.
like having like real conversations too, instead of just like, I don't know, mom-daughter conversations.
Wow.
That's profound. Who knew that? Who knew?
Bridger drops the profound bombs
who knew that
often.
Bridger wanted to know so much about my day. I actually love that. I will say, Bridger, that like really, that it really feels good to hear you say that. I honestly never knew you were that interested.
Does anyone else want to know more about our lives? Speak. Do you?
Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't, so it's like tricky. Like sometimes Dad will be having a conversation with me, and then he'll just be talking for so long that I lose interest. But that's Dad. But you, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it kind of depends on the situation, so that's tricky.
I feel like I do tell you a lot.
What do you guys not want to hear about? That's an interesting question. What do you like? What are the things that sometimes we talk about in our lives that you're like, that are cringeworthy for you?
Something cringeworthy for me is when you guys, like, I don't know, when you say something, like, at least my mom, when you say something like, new that you learned about mothering, and I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry, but like,
We're so proud of our mothering, Tess.
like, I don't know how to explain it really, like, sorry.
Sorry, go on.
Like, it kind of depends also, but like, if you, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain sometimes, like, when you say something, like, I don't even know, but like, okay, wait, can we cut this out?
She'll cut out whatever she needs.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You don't need to keep saying.
So, but you don't like when I tell you things about what specifically about mothering?
No, it's just like it's kind of weird because it's like you're telling me how you're gonna mother me, and I don't know, it's just kind of like awkward sometimes. So that's kind of, but like I also, what?
Laughing. All right, can we cut that whole thing out? All right, Kinley.
You said to be honest.
It's great. You're great. That just got clunky. Do you want to try and say it again?
No.
You just have to remember that there are people listening. We need to make sure they're following what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
I think we just need to say like less.
Well, it doesn't matter. Just you have to just try to describe things so that other people that don't know you would know what you were saying.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe just cut that whole thing out.
Okay.
What is some things you wish were different?
Wait, I actually don't have anything.
Oh, good.
Wait, a wish?
Can you say something nice, please?
Sorry. Sorry, I have a wish. I was reading the wrong thing. Sometimes I wish that we were clear about like rules, like specifically due to money. So my mom will make me pay for things that aren't needs often, but sometimes the lines get blurry about what is a need and what is not a need. Like the other day, actually this was this morning, she didn't want to pay for like pimple patches, but like I think that's a need, but she didn't. So I feel like we should
Noted.
make, like, more clear like lines about that.
I think that that's definitely a need, but something that could be a little more tricky is like this morning we went to Target and we got like some concealer, and like my mom, like, you don't love makeup, but sometimes it is kind of like it could be a need, but it could be a want. Like I don't really know. It's kind of a hard line, but like you did buy it, so.
There's also times when like I'll go like out with my friends like to eat or something, and like maybe there's one day when you're like in a good mood and you're like, oh, here's $10 for your dinner. But then like the next day you're like, no, that's something that you're doing by yourself. I'm not going to pay for that. So I just wish we had like more like consistent like boundaries of like what you would pay for instead of it being based off your mood.
This is so good. This is so good. And it's so interesting because we do have some, in our family, we have pretty strong lines, right? Like the girls get a regular allowance and it's a fair amount of money, and that the expectation is that they are going to be spending their own money on things that have to do with their own wants. So for that point. Or you're saying it's not consistent, I think, Bridger, is that like sometimes I'll be like, hey, sure, I'll treat you and your friends to dinner. And other times I'll be like, nope, you have to pay for that. I don't know. Is that really something I need to change?
Nope.
That feels kind of Deb, come on, back me up here.
I got your back, girl.
I just think the difference is that sometimes you're like I get that like you can be like, sure, I'll treat you to some dinner with your friends. And sometimes you can be like, no, today you're gonna pay for that. But the difference is like when you make me pay for it, you say like, no, you already know this. You pay for stuff that you do with your friends, when like really that's not always so consistent.
So you're saying that sometimes the energy around it is actually like doesn't feel so good.
It's like a rule, but like sometimes it's not a rule.
Oh my God. Yes, that is so true. So, wow. Fickle. There's a lot of fickle happening
We're
here.
so imperfect. We're so imperfect.
I mean, I think that you are saying really, really valuable things.
Yes.
And I'm actually also really having so much like empathy and grace for
us. Fuck, our job is so darn hard.
Mothering is so hard. You're never going to get it right. Let's just face it. I mean, sometimes you want rules. Sometimes you want us to be easygoing. Sometimes like you want us to help. Sometimes you want us to stay out of it. Like I think this is actually really informative. That
It's true.
No matter how we do it, like it's someone's needs are not going to be met, and that is actually that is the heart of a parent-child relationship.
Absolutely. I think it's probably time to wrap this up.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if we could end with some humor.
Yes.
Can we end with some humor?
Something
I wonder
you
if
like about us.
Or, no, I don't. Not even that you like. Here's
Take
what
that
I
up.
want. I would love to hear some, like if you guys are ranging in ages from almost 16 to almost 13, right? 12, almost 12. So
She is 12.
I know, but almost 13. So here's what I want to say. In all of your years of being mothered by us, in this kind of crew that we're in, who has a funny story to tell?
I do.
Great.
I don't know if you guys told this on your podcast already.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. When Kinley and I, how old were we?
I don't know which story you're going to tell.
What about the tablet?
Yeah.
You don't remember. We were like 2.
Okay. I don't actually really remember this, but it sounds like it was funny. When Kinley and I were like 2 and 3, Tess was like teething at the time, and me and Kinley ate the entire jar of teething tablets while Tessa was taking a nap. So yeah, those two. And apparently it was really funny because you guys were like really panicked because we walked out of the bathroom and we said, we ate all the vitamin C. And then you guys were really scared and you like called the doctor and we ended up being fine. But
You guys were up to no good.
It was New Year's Eve, and you did eat an entire bottle of homeopathic teething tablets. But yeah, that was our first wake up of, ooh, these two might be trouble.
Totally.
Okay, go.
No, Kinley.
I have another funny story. Camp Crubin.
Oh.
The day with
Wait.
the day with my mother.
Oh.
She took us to you took us to this like random like
deserted
Yeah.
river. That was so scary.
Yes,
I
she
thought I was
put us
gonna
on
die.
a solo. It was really hot. There were a bunch of mosquitoes. It was so boring. It was like I have to say, it was not the best Camp Crubin day.
we were really hungry and we were all like sunburned, like bitten up at the end.
And so tough. You're so tough.
And also
Not really.
also there was this like really, really, really big mosquito that kept following me, and it was so scary.
And Kay was like sitting like, I don't know, maybe like across the street somewhere. She was just like reading her book and chilling out.
With Darwin, just
I have a good memory.
Yes.
Hold that thought. Just the other night, we were all, just the six of us, were having dinner. We were all sitting in the living room, and we had like the best conversation. We were talking about friendships and like, well, that's it. And and it was so great. That was a great memory for me.
was a great memory.
And everyone was engaged, and I think we were doing good.
That was a good moment.
Okay, so basically, mine's also about Camp Crubin, but basically, so it was the last day of.
Hold that thought. I just want to explain what Camp Crubin is.
Oh, yeah.
So
Wait,
during
okay, yeah.
during the pandemic, the girls' sleepaway camps were canceled, and so the Rubens and the Kripkes had Camp Crubin up in the mountains for 4 weeks, where we were the counselors, the 4 parents were the counselors, and the 4 kids were the campers, and it was the best Camp Crubin experience.
And we were all working from home, so we would take, one parent would take a day and to
Yeah,
take the kids on an
okay.
adventure, and we rotated days. Okay.
And there was this award at the end called Golden Leaf. This is only one of what?
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going.
Okay, I have a different one. Cut this out. Okay. So this is about Camp Crubin. It was the last day, and we had color war. And there were 2 teams, 3. Red, blue, and green?
No, just red and blue.
I thought there was a green. Okay, anyways.
Those were your imaginary friends, Tess.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, so it was like a very competitive thing, and it went the whole day, and it was like pretty. It was
Because our
like,
team was the best one.
no, wait,
Yes.
no, we won. Okay, so
Our
so
team was the
basically, it was kind of tied, like the whole way, right? And there were like a bunch of different activities, like all over the mountain and stuff like that. And then at the end. There was like one contest that was like kind of the tiebreaker, and it was like how big you could cannonball into the pool and how big of a splash you could get, and so like it was really good, and then and Bridger was a little emotional that day.
Bridger really wanted to win.
So Bridger was a little emotional that day, and she was like, that team was losing a little bit, and she really wanted to win. But then, my cannonball was bigger than Bridgie's, so that was the very end, and they announced the winner. And right as they said that the red team won, Bridger was like, my toe hurts. And she started
bawling her eyes out in the pool. She's like, my toe hurts, my toe hurts.
She was blaming it on her toe. And that was just like a really funny memory. Like, it was really sad in the moment, and I felt really bad, even though I was really happy we won. But like, it's just so funny because you were blaming it on your toe. So yeah.
Okay, so one time we were like all hanging out, and then Sage used to like make us like wedding dresses out of like sheets. Sheets and safety pins, and we'd all get dressed in wedding dresses, and have like royal weddings. And one time, I don't even know why we were all laughing so hard, but one time we were all dressed up in our wedding dresses and we were having weddings, and then we just all started laughing really hard and we like all peed our pants.
Any closing thoughts for our listeners around being teenagers, around being mothered? Any last minute words of wisdom?
We're both trying our best and that we should give each other the benefits of the doubts because we're really close and it can be hard, but we both do the best we can.
Okay, this is kind of part of my wish because I never said that. But just like a little less like judgy about some things, like a little example of the nails. Like I don't know, just I know you're very like flexible with that, but also just like listen to our part too. Like I know you do, just like a little like less judgy about that because I know that you don't like nail polish and stuff like that, but like we do. So yeah. But I love you.
Love you.
I just want to say, a lot of times, us kids, we just want to do our thing. We don't always want to be not like mothered, but just like told what to do. So like a lot of times we know what we're doing and kind of just let us do it and let us do our thing and we'll be good.
Like let you make your own mistakes?
I mean, yeah, just kind of like we'll come to you for help if we want it.
She's saying stay the F away is what she's saying.
I think what she's saying is like just let us be kids.
We're going to do the best we can even though we're going to mess up too.
Yeah. Also just be a cool mom.
We are cool moms. We just got schooled.
Yes, we did.
Here's what I want to say. As much as you and I just got schooled today, the fact is that our essentially four teenage daughters just sat here in public and talked to us about mothering. And I just want to say that that says a lot. And of course, we're making a million mistakes. And of course, they're not going to like everything we do. But the fact is that they showed up for this.
That's right. That's right.
3 cheers.
3 cheers. And the other thing is you're not supposed to like everything we do.
No, and that would be weird. Wouldn't that be weird if they
Yes.
liked everything we did?
We're your moms, not your friends. And we love you so much.
Love you so much.
We
Thanks for
really
showing
just
up,
do.
you 4.
Love you, Mom.
Love you.
Love you.
Love
Hey,
you.
Deb.
Love you.
I think you're an awesome mom.
I think you're an awesome mom.
I wish you were my mom.
Ditto.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.